Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, sejam bem-vindos, sejam bem-vindas a mais um episódio do podcast MVP, dessa vez diretamente aqui de Florianópolis, no Startup Summit, e tenho a honra de ter aqui do meu lado o senhor Receita Previsível, Mr. Aaron Ross. Hi, Aaron, thank you so much for your time.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Boa noite.
Good. O Aaron vem sempre ao Brasil, então ele já sabe um pouquinho de português.
E aprendendo, estou aprendendo.
É portunhol.
Okay, yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Slowly.
Devagar. Bom, você já viu nesse podcast, então vai ser em inglês, como foi o podcast da Olga, que a gente publicou umas semanas atrás, mas vamos ter aqui as legendinhas para ajudar todo mundo. So, Aaron.
Gustavo.
Gustavo. Thank you. Predictable revenue, you wrote it was published first
2011.
2011, so 13 years ago. Is it still applicable today? I mean, the world has changed a lot, it went through a pandemic. What's changed? Or is it still very...
Well, okay, so now there's a lot of ideas in the book. Right? There's ideas on doing outbound, specializing your salespeople, different types of leads called seeds, nets, and spears, working together with your sales team versus treating them as separate.
The sales guys.
Yeah,
right?
sending cold emails, and so there are some tactics that don't work anymore. Right, so I two examples, like sending referral emails. I don't do it myself, but I feel like sending referral emails, which is in the book, doesn't work very well or as well. And getting 9% response rates is probably more like less than 1%. But the actual ideas that were more fundamental, more important, are just as applicable and more important even today. And that would include, for example, specializing your salespeople or your people, which is just like having people do fewer things better.
Okay.
Seeds, nets, and spears, which is the different types of leads people generate, whether it's through word of mouth, through marketing, or outbound, and understanding that they have different metrics and different aspects, and you do them differently.
Okay.
Another one, again, treating your salespeople with respect. There's an example in the book where I talked about how when I had a team, I would involve them in how we updated or revised this comp plan. It wasn't something I did and then gave to them. We did it all together. So a lot of those principles are still or as important or more important. Like, for example, as the world gets busier, more confusing, and more complicated, you need to help people focus, and how you define their job and specialize them helps them focus.
Right. And with all this change in the world, how do you build predictable revenue in unpredictable times? I mean, the stock market goes up and down every day. There are wars going on everywhere now. It seems. How can
Chaotic.
Chaotic. Yes.
Well, yeah, and if you think
how do you thrive in chaos?
Yeah. Well, if you're waiting for things to slow down, I don't believe they will. Again, what I believe is the world gets more connected in so many ways, mostly through not only technology but also through transportation. The chaos will escalate. There'll be more, because whatever happens in one part of the world will affect the others.
Thank you for the optimism.
Well, also it means there's more opportunities.
Okay.
It also means that what worked last year may not work this year. So, I don't know, 10 or 20 years ago, let's say there's some technique, maybe it's a sales technique, calling technique, email technique, that might have worked for 5 years before it started to work less. I'm kind of making this up, but in principle, I have seen this. But now, if you have a technique that works, it might work for a year, or 6 months before it starts to get worse. You can see this, like, every channel, like LinkedIn, was great for years. It still is sometimes, but as it works and people talk about it, more people get in. It gets more crowded, and there's new techniques, but it gets more crowded, and so the efficiency or the results get worse over time, and so that the amount of time you have to recreate your techniques speeds up. So, okay, this week something's working. Will it work next week? I don't know. And so it goes from how do you become more agile, more creative, more adaptable, because you can't really rely, you can make whatever plans you want, but something's going to happen.
Yeah, so the anxiety or the feeling that, I mean, you're running around your tail, this is true and it will get worse, right?
Yeah, I mean, uncertainty is not going to go away. The hope that you'll be able to make your goals, but not really being sure how to do it, is going to continue. And so a lot of it, I think, is just understanding that changes, again, there's going to be problems, there's going to be changes, there's going to be surprises. And we don't like those in business. We rarely like them in life.
Business is supposed to be predictable, right?
Yeah, well, supposed to be. So a lot of it's not so much as these days, I think, creating predictable processes and predictable sales techniques. It's more how can you create a strong culture that you can kind of have predictable reliance on your team, so that your customers, you have a good relationship with your customers, so you can have predictable, more stronger relationships. So whatever happens, whether it's through technology or challenges, that your market, your team is more, you can be more predictable to rely on each other through all the changes.
Right.
Because again, with AI, whatever happens with AI, like I don't even know what'll happen, but I know that whatever happens, what will always help you is having a better relationship with your team,
Good.
with your customers, and with yourself, and that includes with your friends and family. So relationships, whether they're purely fun, friendly, work, whatever, those are going to be things that will be valuable and help you get through chaos no matter what happens.
No, this is good because I was going to ask you about AI, but I mean, when you talk to salespeople, I'm a founder myself, so when you're exploring channels, paid media is getting more expensive and less effective. LinkedIn.
I mean, yeah, it's going to get, yeah.
Nobody can stand cold calls on LinkedIn or WhatsApp anymore. What is seeing the kind of techniques or metrics or tactics that work today? I mean, today is a Friday, Friday the 16th.
Yeah. Well,
it may not work on Monday.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple answers that I see. And again, I'm not in the trenches doing all this myself, but I do see things. And but one thing that does work is relationships. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I have an old client came back and we talked. And I'm helping them. I'm using kind of my LinkedIn and relationships to help generate appointments for them. And it's obviously they're getting a lot of appointments. So I'll reach out to people, and I have help from a partner to people, and revenue executives saying, "Hey, would you like to test out this product?" And they're getting, just with it's not that much time to do this, but they're getting, I don't know, it's the number like 20 introductions, or it's all 10 appointments a month with just a little bit of work, right? Because it's the relationships that make that easy. It's the relationships work. How you do those can be up to you, whether that's through email, LinkedIn, there's so many ways to do it.
Okay.
Relationships is one. Just natural creativity, which is we have a challenge, we have paid advertising, and or just lead generation. Like what's working, what do we try, how do we do this? It's kind of like being entrepreneurial with your lead, whatever that area is.
Oh, okay.
You have to figure it out. You can't just copy and paste other people's things, because you might try that, and sometimes it might work, but a lot of times it doesn't. So being able to realize that, hey, your team and you need to be comfortable saying, it's not working anymore, we're going to figure out how to improve it or do something better. So that, again, that being agile, being confident, maybe it's not confidence, right, the word, willing to go for it.
Okay.
Even when you don't know how it's going to work. I think like a big theme of my life has been saying, hey, I know I want to do something, I know it feels important, and kind of my intuition, but I don't know how it's going to work. I'm just going to figure it out. Whether that was going to Salesforce, starting a company, going to Salesforce, building a big family. Right? We have 10 children.
We're going to talk about that.
We have 10 children, and every time it's like, I don't know how we're going to support the family, stay alive, stay sane, but we need, we're going to have this child or adopt this child, and just figure it out. So again, there's the relationships is one, and being entrepreneurial is another. Beyond that, I'm not sure.
On a daily basis, right? On a daily basis, it's not like, okay, this is
every day. I think a lot of people realize, and like as a founder, you might feel me. I think,
totally.
And parents are like, I don't even know what how am I going to get through today? Like, I don't know what's happening. It's like this daily dose of confusion. Like, There's going to be surprises. Some, kid's going to hurt themselves, have to go to the ER. Some big client's going to call and cancel. Like, there's just going to be shit to deal with. And that's just, you get used to it.
So if you go around the show floor here, you're going to see a lot of CRM systems, a lot of lead generation tools, and people are really relying.
Thousands of tools.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, I'm going to solve your problem. I'm going to give you the best leads. I'm going to increase your sales. This is all empty promises, right? I mean, it's not about the tools.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they're empty promises, but we're in a phase, and we have been for a while, and we will be, which is, especially with AI, is there's unlimited great tools. Mm-hmm. Kind of like online, like there's infinite great advice. What should I eat? How should I be healthy? How can I make money? How can I start a company? Like, there is millions of years of great advice. How do you know what's right for you? Mm-hmm. So I don't know they're empty promises. People say everything, but they all can be great tools. But then if I'm a founder or I'm trying to find a tool for my team, how do I do that? A good one.
Yeah. How do I pick? Right?
I don't know. How do you pick?
I'm trying to find out as well.
Yeah. So it's like I think the today
it's relationships, right? Referral.
That's one.
Yeah.
That's one. A lot of it, honestly, a lot of the answer for lots of these things is there's more variety than ever to do anything. How do I pick something? Well, I could use referrals. I could be online. I could be marketed to. I could be walking the floor. Again, kind of like genders. Right? There used to be 2 or 3. Now there's 200 or 300. There's only going to be more of everything with technology and AI. How can I generate leads? Well, it used to be billboards and and whatever there was 20 years ago, there were 10 or 30 ways to generate leads. Now there's 300 ways to generate leads. And at some point there'll be even more ways to generate leads because there's just more of everything. And so that ultimately the complexity, the overwhelm of options, like it's kind of how do you navigate this world of overwhelm? There's too much good stuff. If you're coming out of college now, what do you do?
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
There's a lot of options. It's overwhelming. So it's easy to go into paralysis. And so again, one of my core beliefs is one of the ways actually that people need like a skill or practice to develop is going back to intuition, what feels right. Because you can have all the data and all the great choices, but like for me, what's worked for me is like what seems to feel right.
Okay.
Whether it's getting into sales, because I was never in sales, I was an engineer.
Really? I didn't know that.
No. I don't know, I was like, sales seems important, I gotta know sales, because I had a company that failed. Having 10 children, that wasn't through like some logical plan. It felt right. What I'm going through now and kind of evolving my work.
Okay.
It's creating something like I want to find work, I need to find work, or create work that I love to do and I can make more money than I used to doing consulting. Still in the sales world, we have a business here, but I'm moving on to more culture and ideas and new books and more speaking. And again, it's really about what feels right.
Okay.
Right?
And how predictable is your revenue? I mean, having to support 10 children, cats and dogs.
We have 5 dogs. So 10 children, most of which are dependent on us for money still. There's some older ones. 5 dogs, a cat, 7 horses. Not at the house.
Do you apply your techniques to your company? Sure.
The techniques I'm developing now, yes, they're not so much in the books because I'm doing something new now, and so I actually have a new talk and keynote where I talk about what I'm doing and what I'm going through, but I haven't gotten to the place yet where I can go back and say, okay, here's how I figured out how to work that I loved and made more money at that than I was doing when I was, doing mainly predictable revenue as the business. So, but I would say that I went from by defining work that I love.
Okay.
Like what kind of work do you love? And for me, I didn't love sales. I just happened to be really good at it. And I like working with the team. I have a great team here in Brazil, actually. Thiago Muniz and Alex. And have to make a lot of money to support the family. Like a lot of people, right? I think you might say you love founding a company. I would probably call you a liar, honestly. Or there's parts you can love, right? It's the people usually, there's parts, but it came down to, like, if you could do anything for your work, and you were going to work, if you weren't going to make money at it, but you were working because you just liked the work for the work itself.
Yes.
Like, what would you do?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because most founders that don't come from a sales background don't like to sell, right? Myself, you were an engineer and ended up in sales. I'm a journalist, and I ended up in sales because I have to sell, right?
It's a skill you need to succeed as a lot of roles, including founder. Yeah.
How do you prepare for that? I mean,
well, I think primarily, sales. Most people don't like to sell because it's out of discomfort or fear, right? They don't grow up with it. They're not used to it. It's like, I don't want to.
Yeah. You have to reach out to people, and it's I'm forgetting the word in English. You have to bother other people, right? I mean,
You can use that word, bothering.
I mean, that's how not salespeople think, right? I'm bothering someone, trying to sell them something instead of them buying from me, right?
Yeah, or you could think, wow, there's lots of people who need what I've got to offer. I don't know who they are, but I got to go out there and try to help people. I mean, there's a lot of intentions. Some salespeople are just trying to make money, and they don't care about being honest.
Okay.
They try to manipulate. Okay, that's one example. There's lots of other people who treat it as, yes, it's a way to actually make money while helping people, right? Because if you're selling something and you believe in the product, I said if you believe in the product, because a lot of people don't, and you're trying to find the right people who need it, you're actually there helping them understand why they need it, how it's a good fit, how they can use it and benefit from it, and helping them make a sale, helping them buy something, helping them buy the right thing that they need. So there's all kinds of selling, there's all kinds of ways, all kinds of intentions behind it. But what I've learned too, sales is a life skill. I don't know how you're going to do anything in life, or if you have any ambition, how are you going to do anything? Start a nonprofit, like raise money, have a company that succeeds without knowing something about selling and some basic comfort with just how it works, how to bring money into your company. It makes it a lot harder. I had a business. One reason it failed is because I didn't know how to professionally sell.
Right.
Because every entrepreneur, there's like a natural sales they can do, which is different than saying, hey, let's build a sales team or a sales process and create predictable revenue. That was a totally different skill, and that's why I went to Salesforce at the most junior sales job they had. I went from being a CEO of a startup company, venture funded, to this SDR at Salesforce, because I was like, I need to learn sales, and I can't do it by reading books. I got to do the job to learn it from the ground up.
Right. So you have to. And how do you get from selling to people buying? I mean, this is me as a founder and learning how to sell.
Well, I'm glad you asked. If you've heard of this book, Keep It Crescimento. Let me sell you on buying this book and reading it. But actually, so the sequel to Predictable Revenue was in English called From Impossible to Inevitable. In Portuguese, Keep It Crescimento.
Okay.
And in the beginning of that book, it's called Nail a Niche. So that's the place to start, which is just, I know it's obvious in hindsight. I didn't have it in the Predictable Revenue book because I realized later when people struggled what was missing. And what was missing is just this self-awareness and self-learning around who are the best customers, who are the most ideal for us. Like, who needs what I have to offer?
Okay.
Like, what can I offer to people? Who needs that? And how are they different from the customers to whom am I nice to have?
Okay.
Because a lot of people, when you're early, or a lot of people who aren't thinking, they're trying to sell stuff to people who don't need it, what you got. And it's not simple. You have to have a bunch of clients and kind of learn what works and what doesn't to learn, this type of company really needs me, so I should focus on them.
Okay.
And I understand their problems, I understand what I should say to them, I understand how much they should pay. So that's the place to start, which is how do you sell in a way that's really helping people and is more efficient for you and them. And you're not wasting a bunch of other people's time or wasting your own time. So it's called nailing a niche.
Nailing a niche. Okay.
Yeah.
We touch AI. I mean, this is the hottest topic at the moment. And what's your take on AI and sales? I mean, is there going to be sales as we know? Is it going to change? A16Z just released an article a few weeks ago saying that AI will change, AI workflows will fundamentally change, and that sales, marketing, and customer success will blend together.
Yeah.
No, you said you didn't read the article, but what's your take? What are you thinking about the impact of AI?
Could be. But what I think actually will happen is, again, I believe in more of a future of diversity. So I don't think all companies and sales marketing teams are going to kind of blend that way, customer success, sales, and marketing. I think a lot will, and a lot won't. So we're just going to have more of everything. So I can see, it makes sense when they say that yeah, AI will help people blend those roles. I don't think classic sales marketing, customer success roles will go away though.
Right.
I mean, that's not how history has worked. So what that means though, to me, like, AI is something that's happening so fast, and I got so many kids and I got good business partners. I'm not using it day to day. I don't have an interest in using it day to day in the tactics. But what I see and believe is, yes, it'll change it is and will change lots of things. I don't know what those are.
Okay.
But I go back to, look, if people are focusing on like themselves, like who are you? What do you really want to do? What's your voice, your personality, your interests? How can you build good relationships with yourself, with your friends, your family, customers, your team, and people? Again, no matter what happens with AI, you're going to be positioned to be able to take advantage of it. Okay? So if you're, again, like if a company, you have a great relationship with your customers, they trust you.
Okay.
As a company, as a founder, and there's some problem. The world changes, there's a pandemic, you have a product problem, you have a lot more leeway to change, to figure things out, to fix something, to adapt with them before they quit on you, if they trust you and believe in you. And the same thing with your team, friends, family, etc. So with the AI stuff, I'll kind of let other people who are like, again, Tiago Muniz and the team here, they're more in the weeds of like tactics and how tools and changing, and we're partners with Zoho CRM. I'm kind of like, they are smart, they're going to be great at figuring that out. That's not what I'd be great at. I'm great at the people, culture, big themes, creating kind of breakthroughs in different areas. And a lot of the work I'm looking at doing myself, it's almost, I don't see it being related to AI at this point.
So in a high-tech AI world, high touch will be the key differentiator in a way?
Well, not high touch, because again, if I'm a founder, well, you're a founder. I think the biggest missed opportunity for most companies is the founder or executives aren't, creating relationships at scale with people, right? And maybe not create a relationship. So you might talk with your team, but even putting, whether it's videos, webinars, blog posts, social media, ways to share yourself at scale with your extended team and with your customers, right? To build that kind of trust. So doesn't have to be high touch.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it's not. You can build relationships
without.
There's lots of ways to do that. I have a lot of, thousands or tens of thousands or people have relationships with people that are one-sided. I don't know them, but they know me. That's okay.
But you're close to them, right? You're there in a way.
Yeah, and I work at, and I'm very erratic in creating content. I'm more of a book person, honestly. This is kind of a realization even the last few years when I wanted to evolve what I'm doing from sales consulting, like working with clients, to more ideas and speaking and writing new books. So again, I mentioned that sales wasn't a passion. I like sales. Books are a passion. Ideas are a passion. So I want to write more books and do more talking, and I like work with people. People are a passion, and how people work together is a passion. So sales is really, to me, a lot, how do people work together? Which could include the team, or it actually can include when you're meeting new people, like leads or customers. How do they, looking back, I didn't realize it at the time, but even in the Predictable Revenue book, talking about seeds, nets, and spears, was thinking, there's different ways people don't know each other and they get to know each other. So I'm kind of, even now, learning more about my own passions and where should I really focus my strengths and my interests so I can be the best not just enjoy myself the most at work, but also be the most, helpful or create the best work out there.
And that's why you moved to Scotland 5 years ago?
That's one reason. The main reason is because with the kids, we were living in Los Angeles, and again, we had, at that time, 9 kids. 2 from my wife's first marriage, 3 bio kids together, and we've adopted 5.
5, wow.
And we just felt like we'd wanted to move to Europe for a long time because we felt like we wanted to be in a place where we could explore more countries and cultures more easily.
Yeah, well, everything's closed.
And we gotten kind of tired of the Los Angeles culture. And there's lots of things to like about there. Just like I'd gotten tired of the San Francisco culture. And we just felt like the kids growing up in that environment, like Los Angeles or San Francisco, where there's just too much of the culture's about looks, status, money, career, who do you know, what do you do, and
But isn't that what do you need to sell stuff? I mean, or
not for kids.
Not for kids.
Yeah, for kids. Yeah, not for
Okay.
kids. Yeah. Late, if they get to be teenagers, there's times. And by the way, I talk to my kids. You don't need any of that stuff to sell. What you need is probably some what do you want to ask for? Having some confidence to ask, and then trying it again in different ways. I'm kind of making it up in the moment, but with my kids, like I have a 21-year-old who's probably too good at selling because she's younger. I talked to her. Okay, you want to get something from mom or me? Okay, here's how you should approach it. Right, and then she got to the point where she was making she made a PowerPoint one time about why we should invest a bunch of money in a great guitar for her. Right, and I was both.
Did that work?
I was very proud of her and also really annoyed. Like, oh my god.
Oh god. What am I doing?
Check out my wallet.
Did it take Stripe or?
Yeah, but actually one of her first lessons was when she was like 7 years old. And with the kids, we started with just like practicing the confidence, learning to ask.
Okay.
Especially strangers, but even within the family. So we were in Santa Monica, and there's a gumball machine, and it takes a quarter. Right? I didn't have one, but it's like, if you want one, you could go in and ask the lady. She'll probably just give you one because you're like a cute kid.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Can you ask for me? No. If you want it, so I stood next to her and helped her, coached her. Here's what to say. Excuse me. I don't remember what it was. I could have a quarter for the gumball machine. I don't have one. Something really simple. And she was, and she did it. And she got a quarter and she got the gumball. And she still remembers this, right?
Really?
Yeah, just so little things to learn how to ask. What do you want to ask for? And to build that. And, different kids are better at that than others. And it's okay. Everyone has their own time.
Yep.
And
but maybe people think that sales or doing that kind of stuff is you have to be naturally born or with stuff like that. But I think as parents, what we have to do is.
I was an engineer, man. I was so shy. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't have
you were those guys, that kind of engineer.
No, I was terrible about making friends. I still kind of am. I was shy. I was my first job out of college. The feedback I got, I did investment banking, was that basically I had terrible verbal communication.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was 30 years ago. Also, when I found things I wanted to talk about, it was easier. But you don't need to look a certain way. I'm not saying you don't. Okay, looking a certain way, everything can help. But you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to have a certain amount of status and money. You don't have to have anything except the will to give it a shot. And then keep going.
And we are not prepared for that, right? Our parents never told us that kind of stuff.
Or they say it, but then as a parent, it's easy to say one thing and do another. It's like, your kid, I'm trying to think of an example where you kind of shoot down your kid. Hey, can I have a phone? Or can I get a dog? Or I have a kid who wants to get a guitar, a nicer guitar, say $500, right? And rather than saying no, because in this case, we'll do some things that maybe be less, but she wants a nicer one. So
right.
Rather than saying no, not now, but hey, if you want to get creative, open to ideas, we can talk about getting creative on how we can make this happen. And I think it's harder to say no. There is an important skill. I'm not really sure the answer is when you say no and they don't give up and they keep coming at you. So Usually one parent will say no,
And the other.
and the other one's kind of coaching the other kid, but different topics. So it's like I'll say no to some things, and my wife will say no to others, and
And they always know
I don't know,
which
man.
one
Parenting
to.
is just confusing, basically.
But they always know which one to ask for.
Usually,
when
they're
want.
smart.
Yeah,
They're
they're
not dumb.
really
Yeah,
smart.
oh,
Yeah.
It's very confusing parenting.
Just to wrap up, what are your key hints or advice for people for founders or trying to sell today? I mean, it's tough selling.
Yeah, okay. Here's a few key things, right? I mentioned start with that idea of nailing a niche.
Okay.
And I think on our website, receitaprevisível.com, you can find our site.
BR?
Actually, I don't know. I think it's .com.
Okay.
Or maybe both. Pretty sure they have a version of that chapter for free in Portuguese. So if you Google it, I'm not sure. But you can go to the site, and otherwise it's in the Hipo de Crescimento book. So that's all about like if you targeting the right customers or the ideal customers, you can know them. It's not easy, but it'll be a lot easier than trying to sell the right thing to the wrong people. You know, so like if you sell oranges, you can try to sell oranges all you want to apple buyers. Not going to buy. Yeah, that's the first place to start. The second place is like sales is a skill. It's important. You can get better at it. You know, it's uncomfortable at first if you haven't done it. It's okay. If you have a team, the last thing is it makes a big difference when you can kind of get people into the right jobs. Now, the books define inbound lead response and outbound SDR and sales and customer support. And you don't have to do those jobs.
All of them.
The principle is like having people do fewer things better. Right? Again, just we're getting to a world of diversity and there's more options. So there's so many ways you can set up your team. What needs to get done? And how can you have your people do fewer things better? Those are a few places to start, like the basics. If you're not doing those things, if you're not nailing a niche, if you're not kind of like getting the right people focused on doing fewer things better, all the lead gen stuff you're doing is going to be so much harder.
All the tools,
all the
the paid advertising.
All that's going to be so much harder. You'll just waste your time and energy on doing stuff that's never going to convert to revenue.
Sure. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Gustavo.
É isso aí, fiquem ligados, fiquem ligadas. Episódios do podcast MVP, toda quarta-feira no YouTube, no Spotify e em outras plataformas de áudio. Até o próximo. Valeu!